The Gorn Empire slaughtered 800,000 innocent human children on the colony world New Hope. Lieutenant Scott Tucker staggers through the bombed-out ruins of the colony's capital, clutching the dog tags of his 2 dead sons. Their tiny bodies lie somewhere in the rubble. Tucker and the few other survivors are consumed by a cold, unbending fury. News of the Gorn's atrocity spreads to Earth and every human outpost, igniting a righteous anger across all humanity. The people demand vengeance. Earth's leaders turn to the legendary Admiral Draco Riker to bring the Gorn to justice. Riker addresses the human fleets. The Gorn believe they have broken our spirit, that we will fade quietly into the void. They are gravely mistaken. For every child they murdered, we will destroy 100 of their ships, 1,000. We will chase them to the ends of the universe. This is only the beginning. They want war. We will give them a reckoning unrivaled in galactic history. To the Gorn Emperor, Riker sends one chilling message. Run, we're coming for you. The massacre has sealed the Gorn's fate. The human crusade has begun to avenge the fallen and bring the Gorn Empire to its knees. For the Gorn, no mercy awaits. Only the pitiless void of space and humanity's unrelenting fury. The Gorn's arrogance will be their downfall. They cannot fathom the depths of humanity's resolve. Our vengeance will be total and absolute. The Gorn children will know the same fear ours felt in their final moments. An eye for an eye. The Gorn will learn that when you wound humanity, when you spill the blood of our young, our retribution is swift and terrible. Humanity will be the Gorn's judge, jury, and executioner, and we have found them guilty. As the flames of war spread across the galaxy, Admiral Draco Riker marshals humanity's allies with unwavering dedication. His diplomats and military liaisons fan out to the far corners of known space, bearing witness to the Gorn's atrocities and rallying support for the human cause. The Altarians, long oppressed by Gorn rule, eagerly pledge their sleek, nimble warships to the coalition. The mighty Kragans, their massive frames rippling with muscle, beat their chests and roar their defiance, ready to crush the Gorn beneath their boots. One by one, the races of the galaxy unite under the banner of human justice. Their combined might, a force to be reckoned with. In the shadows of the brewing storm, Lieutenant Scott Tucker dons his black ops gear, his eyes cold and hard as steel. He assembles his team of elite operatives, each handpicked for their deadly skills and unshakable loyalty. Zoria, the Altarian spy, her lithe form concealing a web of hidden blades and a mind as sharp as a razor. Grok, the Kragan warrior, his massive fists capable of pulverizing Gorn skulls with a single blow. Together they slip behind enemy lines, striking at the heart of the Gorn war machine. Tucker and his team infiltrate weapons factories deep in Gorn territory, planting explosive charges with practiced efficiency. They watch from a safe distance as the facilities erupt in flames, the night sky painted orange with the glow of righteous destruction. Gorn supply depots become the next targets, Tucker and his operatives sneaking past guard patrols to sabotage vital materiel and sow chaos in the enemy ranks. Each successful mission chips away at the Gorn's ability to wage war, each blow a small measure of vengeance for the innocent lives lost. As Tucker's team strikes from the shadows, Admiral Riker unleashes the full might of the human fleet. Swift, silent ships, cloaked in the latest stealth technology, prowl the space lanes, picking off Gorn vessels with ruthless precision. The once proud Gorn armada, caught off guard by the humans' hit-and-run tactics, suffers heavy losses as the coalition forces join the fray. Altarian strike craft weave through the chaos, their plasma cannons cutting through Gorn hulls like hot knives through butter. Kragan warships, their massive frames overflowing with weapons, slam into the enemy lines, crushing Gorn vessels with sheer brute force. Desperate to stem the tide of defeat, Emperor Draconis lashes out with savage fury, ordering brutal attacks on human colonies across the frontier. Cities burn, their streets running red with the blood of the innocent. The galaxy watches in horror as the Gorn's cruelty reaches new depths, but the atrocities only serve to harden humanity's perseverance. For every life lost, for every atrocity committed, the humans and their allies vow to exact a terrible price in Gorn blood. As the flames of war rise ever higher, whispers reach Admiral Riker of human captives languishing in a heavily fortified Gorn prison complex. Among the prisoners are said to be key officials and military officers, their knowledge and experience vital to the war effort. Riker knows he must act quickly before the Gorn can break his people and tear the secrets from their minds. He gathers his most skilled and daring soldiers, led by Sergeant Thaddeus Kane, a man as tough as the Gorn scales he wears as trophies. Kane and his commandos, each a master of death and destruction, board a stealth shuttle and set course for the prison complex. They blast their way through the outer defenses, Kragan muscle and Altarian guile working in perfect harmony with human courage and tenacity. The prison's halls become a battleground, the air thick with the stench of blood and scorched metal as Kane's team fights their way to the cell blocks. Among the prisoners, they find Ambassador Elara Voss, her once pristine diplomatic robes now tattered and stained. Voss, a key negotiator working to secure the support of the enigmatic Quill, cradles a wounded arm, her eyes fierce with defiance. Kane and his soldiers blast open the cell doors, their weapons spitting fire as they cut down the Gorn guards with ruthless efficiency. With the prisoners secure, the commandos fight their way back to the shuttle, Gorn reinforcements flooding the complex in a desperate bid to stop their escape. The air crackles with the energy of plasma bolts and the roar of Kragan battle cries. Kane and his team hold the line, their armor scorched and battered as the shuttle's engines roar to life. They leap aboard, Ambassador Voss and the other captives safe in their midst, as the prison complex recedes behind them, a testament to human courage and unconquerable grit. News of the daring rescue spreads like wildfire across the galaxy, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of war. More and more species rally to humanity's cause, drawn by the humans' unwavering grit and their commitment to justice. The Quill, swayed by Ambassador Voss's impassioned pleas and the evidence of Gorn atrocities, pledge their advanced technology and enigmatic psionic abilities to the Coalition, tipping the balance of power in humanity's favor. But even as the Allies gather strength, the Gorn Empire remains a formidable foe. Its armies vast and its cruelty knows no bounds. The stage is set for a final confrontation, a battle that will decide the fate of the galactic realm itself. On distant worlds and in the cold depths of space, humans and Gorn alike steel themselves for the coming storm, each side fueled by an unquenchable rage and a thirst for vengeance. For Lieutenant Tucker, for Sergeant Kane, for every soldier, spy, and diplomat fighting on the front lines, there can be no surrender, no retreat. The Gorn started this war, and humanity will finish it, regardless of the cost. In the face of unimaginable odds and unspeakable horrors, the human spirit remains unbroken, a shining beacon of hope amidst the darkness. The galaxy will tremble as the full might of the human coalition clashes with the savage fury of the Gorn, and the very stars themselves will bear witness to the epic struggle for justice and retribution. The rescue of Ambassador Elara Voss and the other captives sent shockwaves through the coalition. Admiral Riker saw an opportunity to turn the tide of war. He summoned Lieutenant Scott Tucker to his war room, the holographic displays flickering with battle reports from a dozen fronts. "Lieutenant, I have a mission of utmost importance," Riker said, his voice grave. "You'll accompany Ambassador Voss to the Quill homeworld. Their technology could be the key to defeating the Gorn." Tucker nodded, his face etched with drive. "We won't fail you, sir." Days later, their stealth shuttle touched down on the crystalline surface of the Quill capital. The air shimmered with an otherworldly energy as Tucker and Voss were led to the grand chamber of Matriarch Zarathax. The Quill leader's multifaceted eyes regarded them coolly. "Humans," she intoned, her voice a melodic hum, "your resilience intrigues us, but the Gorn have made enticing offers." Voss stepped forward, her diplomatic training evident in every measured word. "Matriarch, we seek an alliance based on mutual respect and shared values. The Gorn cannot be trusted." Tucker's instincts screamed danger. He proposed a bold plan, one that would expose the Gorn's true nature. "Let us prove their duplicity," he said, "a joint operation to infiltrate a secret Gorn facility." Zarathax's antennae quivered with interest. Proceed! The mission was a crucible of fire and shadow. Tucker led a mixed team of humans and Quill operatives through the labyrinthine corridors of the Gorn Research Complex. Plasma bolts sizzled past as they fought their way to the central database. By the void, a Quill agent gasped as the files flashed across the screen. They've stolen our technology. They're building a planet killer. Tucker's blood ran cold. Download everything. We're blowing this place sky high. They barely escaped as the facility erupted in a fireball visible from orbit. The evidence they brought back to the Quill homeworld was damning. Zarathax's voice trembled with rage as she addressed her war council. The Gorn have betrayed us all. We join the human coalition. Let our vengeance be swift and terrible. The addition of Quill warships turned the tide. Their stealth technology allowed for precision strikes deep in Gorn territory. Supply lines crumbled. Shipyards burned. But the Gorn fought with the savagery of cornered beasts. They lashed out at defenseless colonies, reducing entire worlds to ash and rubble. Admiral Riker's voice crackled over the comms as the combined fleet prepared for the largest engagement yet. This is the moment that will define us. For every innocent life taken, we will exact justice. All ships engage. The void erupted in a maelstrom of weapons fire. Dreadnoughts traded salvos that could shatter moons. Fighters danced and died in their thousands. On the bridge of his flagship, Riker watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Push them back, he ordered. Give no quarter. Planetside, Tucker led his team through the chaos of urban combat. They fought street by street, building by building, to secure a critical Gorn command post. Breach charges set, Sergeant Kane shouted over the din of battle. The wall exploded inward. Tucker's team surged through the gap, their weapons spitting death. Gorn defenders fell before the human onslaught. As the dust settled, Tucker planted the coalition flag atop the ruined command center. He looked out over the burning cityscape, knowing that scenes like this were playing out across 100 worlds. The war had entered a new phase, bloodier and more desperate than ever before. But for Tucker, for every human soldier, there could be no turning back. The memory of New Hope's slaughtered children drove them forward, an inexorable force of retribution. In the fiery crucible of war, humanity's determination was being tested as never before. The galaxy trembled, and the final reckoning drew ever closer. The thunderous roar of engines filled the air as Admiral Riker's armada split into 3 massive strike forces. Aboard the flagship Dauntless, Riker's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the tactical display. Draconis Prime loomed before them, a fortress world jam packed with defenses. All ships engage at will, Riker commanded. The void erupted in a storm of weapons fire as human and Gorn vessels clashed. Quill stealth fighters darted between the lumbering capital ships, their advanced technology allowing them to slip past enemy sensors and wreak havoc on vulnerable systems. On the bridge of the Dauntless, klaxons blared as a Gorn cruiser scored a direct hit. Shields holding at 60%, reported the tactical officer, her fingers dancing across the console. Riker gripped the arms of his command chair, watching as his fleet pressed the attack. Thousands of light years away, General Katarina Zhao led her Marines through the war-torn streets of Kravathka. The acrid stench of burning metal filled the air as human and alien soldiers fought house to house against waves of Gorn defenders. Push forward, Zhao shouted, her voice rising above the din of battle. She ducked behind a shattered wall as plasma bolts sizzled overhead. A nearby explosion showered her with debris, but she emerged unscathed, her rifle spitting death at the enemy. A Kragan warrior let out a bone-shaking roar as he charged a Gorn position, massive fists shattering reptilian bone. Altarian snipers provided cover fire from vantage points high above, their precision shots dropping Gorn officers with unerring accuracy. In orbit around Gorn 2, Lieutenant Scott Tucker's infiltration team fought their way through the maze-like corridors of a Gorn defense platform. Zoraya moved like a living shadow, her blades flashing as she dispatched enemy guards with lethal grace. Grok's massive frame filled the narrow passageway, his strength proving invaluable as he tore through sealed bulkheads. "We're approaching the main control room," Tucker reported, his voice low and tense. "Prepare breaching charges." The explosion rocked the station, and Tucker's team surged through the smoke. Inside, Gorn technicians scrambled for weapons, but it was too late. Within moments, the humans had secured the chamber. "I need access to those defense grids," Tucker ordered, gesturing to a bank of alien consoles. An Altarian tech specialist moved forward, her fingers flying across the unfamiliar controls. "Sir," she called out, her voice tight with urgency, "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup from a vessel near Draconis Prime. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Tucker's blood ran cold as the realization hit him. "The world scarer," he breathed. Aboard the Dauntless, Admiral Riker watched in horror as the Gorn doomsday weapon powered up, its massive form dwarfing even the largest battleships. Arcs of crackling energy played across its surface as it prepared to unleash devastation on an unimaginable scale. "All ships concentrate fire on that superweapon," Riker bellowed, but even as his fleet reoriented, he knew it might be too late. Suddenly, a dozen Quill stealth ships decloaked directly in the Worldscar's path. Without hesitation, they launched themselves at the monstrosity, their reactors going critical in a series of blinding explosions. The chain reaction tore through the doomsday weapon systems, leaving it a twisted, burning hulk. Riker allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction before turning his attention back to the battle at hand. "Press the attack," he ordered. "We end this now." The combined human and allied fleets surged forward, their weapons blazing. As they punched through the weakened Gorn defenses, Riker set his sights on the glittering jewel of Gorn 2 itself. The final confrontation with Emperor Draconis loomed, and the fate of the galactic realm hung in the balance. The Dauntless shuddered as another salvo of Gorn-heavy weapons impacted its shields. Admiral Riker gripped his command chair, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Status report." "Shields at 42%, Admiral," called out the tactical officer. "But we've breached their outer defenses. We have a clear shot at the surface." Riker nodded grimly. "All ships commence atmospheric descent. It's time we end this." As the human fleet punched through Gorn 2's upper atmosphere, Lieutenant Tucker and his team fought their way through the maze-like corridors of an orbital defense platform. Plasma bolts sizzled past, leaving scorch marks on the alien metal. "Zoraya, on your 6!" Tucker shouted. The lithe assassin spun, her blades flashing as she dispatched 2 Gorn guards in a fluid motion. Grok's massive frame filled the hallway as he smashed through a sealed bulkhead. "Control room ahead, Lieutenant!" Tucker nodded, readying a breaching charge. "On my mark. Now!" The explosion rocked the station. Through the smoke, Tucker's team surged forward. Inside, Gorn technicians scrambled for weapons, but it was too late. Within moments, the humans had secured the chamber. "I need those defense grids offline," Tucker ordered. An Altarian tech specialist moved to a bank of alien consoles, her fingers flying across unfamiliar controls. "Sir, we've done it," she called out. "The railguns are powering down." Tucker allowed himself a grim smile. "Admiral Riker, this is Tucker. You've got a clear path to the surface." On the bridge of the Dauntless, Riker's voice was taut with urgency. "Acknowledged, Lieutenant. All ships push forward. We take the fight to Draconis himself." The surface of Gorn 2 erupted in chaos as human dropships screamed through the air. General Zhao led her Marines through the burning streets, plasma rifles blazing. Kragan warriors roared battle cries as they smashed through Gorn defensive lines. "Push them back," Zhao shouted, her voice rising above the din of combat. "We've got to reach that palace." As the human forces closed in on the Imperial stronghold, the ground trembled. Massive shapes emerged from concealed hangars, their armored forms dripping with weaponry. "By the void," Zhao breathed. "What are those things?" The answer came in a hail of devastating plasma fire. Entire city blocks vanished in searing light as the World Ravers cut a swath of destruction through the human lines. "All units, fall back," Zhao ordered, her voice strained. "We need heavy support." In orbit, Admiral Riker received the frantic reports. His face was ashen as he made the call. "This is Riker. I'm authorizing orbital bombardment of the Palace District. May God forgive us. The sky lit up as lances of energy stabbed downward from the human fleet. Buildings crumbled, streets melted, and the air filled with screams. But even as sectors of the city were reduced to ash, the World Ravers pressed on. Through this maelstrom of fire and death, Tucker's infiltration team fought their way into the lower levels of the Imperial Palace. They ducked and weaved through collapsing corridors, the ground shaking with each orbital strike. "We're close," Tucker growled, his face streaked with grime and blood. "I can feel it." They burst through a final set of doors to find Emperor Draconis waiting. The Gorn ruler's scales were blackened and cracked, but his eyes blazed with defiance. "So," Draconis hissed, "the monkeys have come to my door at last."
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.